from the college campus of calamity comes the self-aware slasher sequel to solidify that Ghostface is here to stay. That's right, we're talking about 1997's Scream 2. The Woodsboro wacko himself, Ghostface, starts slashing again, but this time we leave the million-dollar mansions of California and start slaying students at Sydney's college. How many co-eds does it take to successfully survive a sequel? How many moody glares are necessary to take you off the suspect list? And how many red herrings before a film looks like a fish market? I hope you have your signed Gale Weathers books handy, your caller ID on, and suspect list printed from the library, because we're about to take a Chuddle Club's second stab at the Scream franchise.
Not the Chuddle.
Chuddle. Surprise. Whoa. Oh, that's fantastic.
So good. If what the actual fuck was a movie, out of the mist and into the fog, it's Chuddle the Pod.
Welcome, Chuddle Club members, to a brand new meeting of the Chuddle the Pod Horror Movie Club. My name's Bryan, and I am joined by my co-occupants of the pod, Ross.
Oh, hey.
And Sam.
Sup?
Tonight, we check our caller ID as we stab into 1997's Scream 2, currently streaming on Paramount Plus. All of the Screams are over there, so that's your home for Scream at the moment. Before we kick it off tonight, we want to let you all know that all meetings are spoiler-free up top, and we will let you know when those spoilers descend. And last but certainly not least, we have a Patreon.
Descended yet?
No. Still waiting for my spoilers to descend?
No, not yet.
Ooh.
My friend Jim's his descended, but not mine.
Not yet. You're still waiting on this.
Just waiting on it.
That's okay. We'll let you know when it happens. Last but certainly not least, we have our Patreon, and we gotta shout out our Coven of Witches. Your sacrifice gives us life. We thank your beautiful souls. And just a little... The Coven gets to suggest movies for us to watch here, and they also get exclusive episodes over there. So exclusive. Join us. Now, with all club members present and accounted for, it's time to crack open the Goo Book and officially begin tonight's meeting.
Goo, goo, goo!
Our first order of business for tonight is to get into the spoiler-free gooey bits, starting with our tagline. 2 years after the first series of murders, as Sydney acclimates to college life, someone donning the Ghostface costume begins a new string of killings. Scream 2 was written by Kevin Williamson and directed by one of the goo gods himself, Wes Craven.
The goo
Slashing
gods.
their way onto the screen once again, we have Neve Campbell as Sydney Prescott, Courtney Cox as Gale Weathers, David Arquette as Dewey Riley, Jamie Kennedy as Randy Meeks, Liev Schreiber as Cotton Weary, and newcomers to the series, we get Jada Pinkett Smith as Maureen, Omar Epps as Phil, Elise Neal as Hallie, Sid's bestie, Sarah Michelle Gellar as Cece, Joshua Jackson's popping in there, Timothy Oliphant as Mickey, Jerry O'Connell as Derek, Laurie Metcalf as Debbie Salt, Portia de Rossi's in it at one point. You see Tori Spelling, you got Luke Wilson, you got Heather Graham. There's a lot of people in this one, and those are kind of the big ones there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you have a movie in a movie,
You got to have all the stars, and there's a whole bunch of cameos and stuff which we can kind of talk about when they pop in the movie. And of course, Roger Jackson as the voice
of Ghostface.
Indeed. Now that we know our players, let's determine just how much they're getting hacked up, because
It's time for the gore.
Fatality.
basically, on a scale of 1 to 10, psycho to the sadness, how gory is the film? Consistency, intensity, totals. Ross, do you have something for us?
yeah, I mean, I think it's good on consistency. I will give the consistency of the goo in the Gorometer on this one. Like, I think for me, this is going to sit at about between a 5 and a 6. Like, I think it's consistent, and there are some gore scenes, but not a whole lot of gore scenes.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I believe you gave Creepshow a higher score.
I know.
And I think of this as gorier. But Sam, yeah.
I was going to give it a 7 for maybe like a 4 for consistency and a 3 for intensity, or maybe flip that, or 3, 5 each, somewhere in that range.
Sure.
Because I would say just about nearly every murder, we get a good amount of blood, and some more than others. And
Oh, totally. I mean,
indeed.
I think it's, for me, it's the comparison was like, I didn't get the intestine flops from the first one. You know what I mean? Like, I think when you set the bar out for like a full evisceration.
Well, those were cut from the first one, so you're just remembering that they should be there.
They should. They all should be.
I agree with you, Sam. I gave it a 7 as well, with a 3 for consistency and a 4 for intensity, because like you mentioned, there are some scenes where it's just a little bit more. And you know what? We'll get into it.
But I don't disagree with you, Ross, that I think the first is gorier, even though the sequel, they even say in this movie, like, you gotta be gorier or whatever. And I don't think that it delivered on that person.
No, I don't. Yeah. I'll give it a 6. I will give it a 6. I agree with you guys. But not
great.
I don't know.
Well, now that we have a good sense of the gore, I think it's the perfect time to ask,
who is the horror forward?
We like to break this question down into 3 segments: genre, how to watch, and is it for beginners? Let's start with sub-genre. Slasher. Thriller.
Yeah. Yep.
Whodunit?
Whodunit? Whodunit?
Whodunit?
Young person film, college
film?
Yeah, I mean, as a kind of a subcategory of slashers, if you like sorority slashers, college slashers, this is a good one.
Sure. Yeah. I definitely thought of it as like a college film when I was younger watching it.
Sure, yeah. This is what it's like at college.
Yeah, it's wild.
Look at this library. Holy shit.
I think that covers that. How to watch it. This is tricky. Now, is this a first time watch or a many time watch? I think.
Sure. Yeah, first time you should be in it and invested.
Get in it.
But have fun by all means. Like, I wish every Scream movie that I watched was like the opening of Stab.
Yes.
In the beginning of Scream 2. Where it's just
I at least want to go to that at some point in my life.
Exactly. If I could go to a Scream 7 opening and they were giving out Ghostface costumes, I'm gonna murder someone. No, but that would be so fun. Oh my god, I'd be thrilled. Not to murder someone, but the rest of it.
No, but you make a really good point, though. I mean, like, the franchise in and of itself is like, you can dig the movie like this. Like, you can be in a horde of people and just screaming at the screen. You know what I mean?
Like the barn scene in 4 would be so much fun. The Stabathon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's much later on. But with this one, I think it would be fun. Maybe a little bit quieter. Group of friends, a good horror group of friends, all hanging out, chilling in the dark, watching this would be a fun time.
Oh,
especially for your first viewing.
Yes,
first viewing. Then you get raunchy later.
Yeah, first viewing is like 5 or fewer. You know what I mean? Like,
beautiful. So then, is it for beginners? I said yes. If it wasn't a sequel, like I don't think like anything. Like if you've seen the first one, then definitely move on to this one.
Mm-hmm. But
I don't think
it's a good double header though. I think like, if you're going to go do it like a beginner, 1 and 2 is a great, just a double. Yeah. A double dip like go
off on some different rails where it's like completely not for beginners. Like they do some really weird experimental thing with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would say like the only reason I wouldn't say it's for beginners is just because it is a sequel. I feel like it needs a nice pairing, you know, it's going to give the taste a little better.
So we're going to go ahead and, I don't know, listen to the winds, look to the skies, and see if the Chuddle harbinger of doom comes flapping around to bring us any warnings on this one.
Oh, yeah. None that I can think of.
I don't. I mean,
he just did a flyby tonight.
Yeah. Maybe I would say maybe a cautionary thing about hazing, but that is about
a cautionary. I mean,
that's a slap on the wrist about hazing, and I think that's maybe it.
It's like an afternoon special for fraternities.
Yeah,
but that's about it. So this one's pretty pretty good in that sense. Next on, we're going to talk about who picked this and why and the history to it and all that stuff. I picked this because, well, I said it's time. We needed to go down this road, and finally, and it's happening.
Yeah.
We covered Scream 1, patron exclusive now, so if you're over there, you can listen to that. Mm-hmm. But I was itching to come back to the series, especially with 6 coming out recently, and just how much we've been involved and how much it's around. 7's going to be coming very soon. I
could talk about Scream so much. I've thought like, man, I just need to do a Scream podcast. That's all.
Right, exactly. Well, exactly.
You guys also had
a new Patreon monthly is just the Scream sidecast.
The Scream sidecast. That's so good. Well, you guys had your boil down with the nightclub about the Scream franchise in general. You know what I mean?
Travis was on for that one.
Yeah, which is a great episode. You guys should listen to it. I wasn't on it. But I could see after having that boiled down, you'd really want to expand on the entire franchise.
For sure. Because we only touched on things within it. My personal history, I think I owned, well, I don't think I did own Scream 2 on VHS before I ever owned Scream OG in any capacity. Wow. Which is hilarious. So I watched it a lot, and I thought it was super cool. And I think I got it from Blockbuster for like really cheap. And for some reason, I was a little sequel freak because I also had not the original I Know What You Did Last Summer, but I still know what you did last summer.
With Ross to Jack Black, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm sure I had other weird ass sequels in there. I know I had Halloween H2O, but not like any of the other Halloweens.
Yeah, Tremors 2.
Right? Like, yeah, I was a little sequel freak, so this one was sitting proudly on my shelf.
Was there a sequel to The Faculty?
I don't know if it.
I feel like you would know if anyone would know. There must not be.
There very well could have been, but I don't know if I was. I don't know.
Teaching Mrs. Tingle too.
Teaching Mrs. Tingle.
Ross, Sam, histories.
Yo,
same as me.
I don't have, honestly, I don't have this much history with this movie. I mean, I think I saw it when it came out or when it was available for renting. Know that I really enjoyed it then, but honestly, this isn't one I revisit that often. It was just actually refreshing to actually sit down and watch this installment again.
Oh, great.
Oh, sure. Great.
I saw this by the time I was really watching Scream. This was out, but it came out a year after Scream came out. They pushed this out right away. Whereas there was a little break between this and Scream 3. So I watched Scream and was super into Scream, and people told me that Scream 2 sucked, so I didn't watch it for a while. And then when I did, I liked it, but I didn't love it. I definitely had my issues with it, and there was like a big issue that a lot of people had, which...
Oh, we'll get into it.
Thank you. And, which I do not care now.
I cannot wait.
So for a while, I just didn't really care for it. And then, I don't know, at some point that changed. Because I know by the time I watched it before 5 Cream came out, I liked it. And so... Anyway, I'm pretty familiar with it. I've seen it a bunch of times. I'm a fan. It's not my favorite in the franchise. Not my least favorite in the franchise. The great thing about the Scream franchise is that I like them all. It's just to what degree. So, no problem.
No problems there. Fantastic. Now would be a great time to pause the episode and go check out Scream 2 if we've enticed you, because now we're going to strap ourselves in as we take the spoiler zone. Before we really get into the movie, though, I have just a little bit of trivia for this. With IMDb behind the scenes. One scene in Kevin Williamson's screenplay was described simply as Wes Craven will make it scary.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which scene was
that? And that came upon like a lot of the rewrites and stuff like that. It didn't say specifically which one.
I feel like it's the one where Cece's running up the stairs and throwing shit at him. It's like, just do something, Wes Craven. It's like,
just do something. Start throwing some shit.
We got a potted plant.
At around the 1 minute mark, Paulette Patterson, who plays the usher who hands the mask to Maureen and Phil, won her role in a contest sponsored by MTV.
What?
So that would have been fun.
Yeah.
If you win an MTV contest and you get to be in Scream.
That's kind of rad.
We should do that again.
Hell yeah.
Let's bring that back. Let's get that back. And then bring us on Scream 7 for coming up with that idea as well. Kevin Williamson had the idea for a sequel while writing the script for OG Scream in 96, discovering that there was more to the story. This movie began principal photography just 6 months after the release of Scream, and it was released less than a year after its predecessor, like Sam said.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, they were just on top of it. The cast were not informed of the identity of the killer until the last day of principal photography. Also, the cast did not receive the last 10 pages of shooting script until it was time to film the scenes contained therein. Furthermore, the last 10 pages of the shooting script were printed on gray paper in order to deter illicit duplication of them. All cast members were required to sign confidentiality clauses as part of their respective contracts that precluded them from discussing the outcome of the story and the killer's identity.
Whoa.
This was all because the OG script got leaked online and just ruined everything for it. According to a rumor, the identity of Ghostface was changed after the original script was leaked in the internet. It was supposed to be Derek, Jerry O'Connell, and Hallie, Elise Neal, in the original ending. This was referenced in Scream 3, where all the actors and actresses on Stab 3 were kept in the dark about the script for this reason. So they're obviously, playing into the world because Scream loves to do that. Usually when making a movie, when an actor or actress is heard on screen but not seen, such as a voice on a telephone, the actor or actress records his or her part during post-production, which takes place after the completion of principal photography. However, director Wes Craven had Roger Jackson on set and actually speaking on screen to the actors and actresses.
What's your favorite scary
movie? So everything was practical on set, so you could have Jackson on there and actually interacting with them. So when he was on set, he was kept out of sight of the other actors and actresses so that they could not put a friendly face to the voice. And Jackson said that the other actors were intimidated by him, would not talk to him on the phone for any more than was absolutely necessary, except for the exception of Sarah Michelle Gellar, who would converse with him just like having general conversation in between takes.
Oh yeah,
just keep going.
Peak SMG. I don't know.
Say, Buffy ain't afraid of shit.
This is at the height of her powers, this movie.
Yeah. So she was just having a good time on set, chatting up with Roger in between takes while everyone else was like, I ain't dealing with that shit.
That's awesome.
One of the extras, yes.
No, it's just amazing to have that on set. Because, I mean, like, the reaction being that off-put by the phone calls read really well when Ghostface was calling.
Yeah, it's definitely, I'd say, a lot more effective to be, like, hearing...
Who is it? Ghostface.
It's Ghostface.
It's hi.
You just have some, like, dude reading it off on the side.
Ghostface?
One of the extras leaked the script to the internet. As a result, the script was almost entirely rewritten. And I got baby mouth tonight. With pages often being completed the day that they were to be filmed. Security was tightened with everyone required to sign non-disclosure agreements and underwent many reshoots. The script was reprinted on specialty paper to prevent photocopying, which I kind of mentioned before.
Brian, it's the curse.
Yeah,
it's the curse. It's the
curse of the ghost.
It's the curse of Wes Craven.
The goo god himself. Sarah Michelle Gellar did a few of her stunts on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but when director Wes Craven told her she was going to be thrown off the 3-story balcony, she was reluctant at first, but then ended up doing it.
Nice.
Which, I mean, I think that shot looks really well. You can tell it's her falling off.
Are you kidding me? I talked to Ghostface on the phone. You think I'm afraid of her falling off a thing?
She was at first, but then it was like, all right,
this
I
is
guess
me
I'm
at the
good.
height of my powers. I can't be killed.
I'm never gonna die. She just leaps off the building. We're not even filming.
This movie's in memory of Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Her last words, "I'm never gonna die," as she leaped off the 3rd story. balcony. That's all I have for behind the scenes. So let's go ahead and get into Scream 2. Scream 2, opening kill. I mean, we got to have an opening kill at the Scream movie. We're starting that.
Yeah. So first question, red right hand in the beginning. Is that in Stab?
Yes.
Or in Scream?
It's in Stab. Like
2. It's in Stab.
It's in Stab.
The theater. Okay.
Absolutely.
Both times I wasn't sure.
Because it's also...
Actually, the second time I was like, it might start in Scream 2 and move into
Stab.
In Stab.
Honestly, I don't have the definitive answer on that.
I should have texted you guys earlier and had you rewatch the opening to tell me right now.
Tell me. No, it's I think it bleeds through. It bleeds through dimensions. So it starts in Scream 2 and then phases.
Bleeds through
Stab.
dimensions. Whoa. Scream's cosmic as fuck.
Meta.
Red right hand is cosmic as fuck. Are you kidding me?
Well, that goes without saying.
Hand.
Filmed in Stabovision, I feel really helped Stab. Especially God, dude, the costumes. Okay, my huge quote in this is the random Ghostface dudes in this theater are so fucking funny to me. The one-liners, because they give they're just blips of these. Everybody's in costume, by the way. Everyone's dressed like Ghostface in this theater. Like, stab you, man! Stab, kill! It's
get her.
Yeah, dude. A lot of that. I want to do this. I want to go to a theater where there's a giant fucking stab arm,
huge hand
outside of it.
This is
where they're giving out the costumes, like
the two ghost faces that fly over the audience to the back of the theater.
It's those are controlled by the theater people.
The theater people
have exactly.
That are on this like wheel
of the theater.
It's this pulley system they have.
Well, it's like it's like those old 50s movies had like Smell-O-Vision and like the Creeper that had like the electricity in the chairs and shit like that. I love the fact that they made Stab a like matinee movie with all of these gags in the theater. You're like, because you never see that shit anymore. Or even
Bryan,
then.
I think you got the closest thing to it with the like special fan experience for Scream 6 in the 4D.
I wish,
4D.
yeah. There's no
people in like top story jackets.
That is true. There was people in top story jackets. There's no. I don't think I had any Ghostface there, but almost
Ghostface.
A lot of people were obviously in Scream attire, like T-shirts and all that kind of stuff,
or in their favorite Scream shirts,
rumbly and bumbly in our chairs and whatnot. It was such an experience. It was a fun experience, but not this one. I want this one. I want this. I want the fucking theater, and I want the knife hand, and I want the fly ghost face, and I want just pandemonium. But I want to have seen but for like Scream 2 or something. I want to see it for like one of the Screams I've seen, not one of the new ones.
What about a real murder? Would you like that?
Yes, I want the whole experience.
All that murder. Speaking of murder. All right, so this bathroom, the second that it's Phil. When Phil goes into the bathroom, the crazy Egyptian everything, and then just the two guys pissing that are Ghostface lurching back at him.
Yeah,
he's just like, okay, great. He's in a bathroom stall taking a piss. He hears some like, no, mommy, no, just turn the weird voice. The statistical odds of stabbing someone in the fucking head without seeing where their head is at all is amazing. Like, is at the astronomical odds. Ghostface power. The Ghostface power is so strong in this first kill. He stabs, pulls the knife out, and you can visually see him go, oh shit. Like, oh, I got him.
Oh yeah, he like sees the blood on I noticed that. He like pulls it out. He's like, oh, blood, sweet.
Oh, fucking A.
Absolutely.
Well, I was gonna say we never get like Ghostface vision. If we ever like get a peek behind what it's like to be but Ghostface, you're gonna see it actually looks like Predator vision. As soon as you put the mask on, he has like heat vision.
I'm just picturing him in the stall, like he's just like moving the knife around and making the mommy noises.
Making the noises is the funny thing to me. Like he's like waiting for him to get in next to him. He's like, oh great, he's here.
So fucking weird.
Stab. He pulls the knife out. It worked.
Holy shit, that worked.
so much of these first two kills are reliant.
Or she pulled the knife out
on like luck and like happenstance of like.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, it's just like when which we get in this movie. I think we get in all the movies when Ghostface can only stick their arm through the door and they just sort of flail around the knife. That. Like, why don't you come close here so I can stab you? I mean, Ghostface just has that energy, like
just that frantic
Ghostface energy.
That frantic energy, dude. Yeah, oh man, the theater stabbing is fucking wild. Like, what a weird meta, insane way of starting a movie of just the characters watching basically the first movie. Heather Graham Heather Graham's Casey?
Heather Graham is Casey. Yeah,
yeah. It's I mean, obviously, like you get this audience participation thing where like Maureen Jada Pinkett is like yelling at this, like, "Don't do that! Oh shit! No! Fuck!" It's like she's auditorily saying what the audience would be like at any given point of that, and then not realizing that she's about to get fucking murdered. That whole it's so meta. It's dipped in meta. It's like Chrome meta going on in this first scene.
The irony.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a pretty brutal death. Like, she really
fucking always a
yeah. Fuck. Like, she
gets and then like the begging for help.
She sells it very well.
Yes.
Well, apparently Jada Pinkett was like, went to Wes and was like, I want my death to be horrendous and terrible and brutal feeling. And like she was like, give me like a killer death. And that's what they came up with. I think it's pretty effective. And it's
super effective, especially the juxtaposition of how brutal the stabbing is, how many times it happens, like where she gets stabbed and then gets up and then Ghostface comes up from behind her and is still doing it while everyone's pantomiming stabbing with fake knives in the background.
Yeah, get her.
Yeah, it's like
finally realize that like something a little weird's going on.
Slowly stops.
And it gets all quiet.
So my wife actually watched this with me, and she thought at that part where everybody stopped, because she like actually died and it cuts to the title, she thought the whole crowd was gonna start cheering.
Yeah, that was
it
awesome.
All stops and it just like erupts into applause.
I mean, that'd be what else would you do? I would think. No, they realize it's real. That'd been fun if one of the theater people didn't realize what was happening. Then all of a sudden, when the flying ghost face went by, the whole theater's quiet. Then it just goes. That'd be a fun start to the movie. So then, we get our title card, all that shit. Sydney in college. It's a fucking college movie now. Caller ID. We definitely get that.
Oh,
hey,
yes.
You know, making prank calls is a federal offense.
Which she's just cool with, like, she seems fairly cool with Stab coming out at all. She doesn't really complain about it.
Not
much.
Really. She's, live and let live.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I'm probably going to get more prank calls now because of this movie about how somebody tried to kill me 6 months ago.
But I guess she's I guess if nobody's actively trying to kill me, it's fine.
Because is the time jump in from the first to the second, is it she just got to college, or is it supposed to be like 2 years after the events of... I never got the exact timeline.
It is like a couple years after. Is it? Because it's 2 years after the first series of murders.
Okay.
So time, time has had to have come. I mean, if they're making a whole movie, they can produce.
I guess
fast,
so. Yeah.
But
But it's interesting too, is that like how jaded she must be, like getting the phone calls, not even remotely reacting to Ghostface's voice, and then just having the caller ID. Like even her roommate even says like, "Do we need to change your number again?" Like. The idea.
I would just not have a phone. Like, why? Who gives a fuck? I don't need a phone.
It's still 97. I would just get a beeper.
If you need me,
just get me a beeper.
A beeper. Get a beeper.
Ghostface is beeping me again. Ghostface has hit me on that two-way. God damn it. Ghostface is chirping me.
I want to see that alternative universe version of Ghostface.
Right. And like, dude, we get into like one meta swimming pool into another meta swimming pool. Because like right after this, we get the film class.
The movie,
which
the film
literally is just talking about sequels. Because obviously it has to be a film class because we can't do the same thing in a video store. So now it has to be in a film class, but I thought it was fucking great. I mean, just the idea of like an open conversation about sequels in a sequel.
Introduce
Which
all our new
Randy
characters.
does like to proclaim that sequels suck. He's very against sequels.
Yes, probably. I mean, are we trying to hide any spoilers as we talk about this? Or
no.
We're
I was
spoilers
like,
ahead,
fuck
right?
you, what are you
Probably
talking
he
about,
fucking
dude?
gets killed in this. That's why you think sequels suck, you fucking dumb dick.
Yeah.
I cannot stand Randy.
I hate him in this one so much. I was like,
how did I ever like this guy? Why was I so upset that he got killed in this movie? That is what people didn't like about this movie and why I didn't like it. It was like, fuck that, they killed the best character.
exactly. That's exactly how I felt.
I think it's the most self-aware character. I wouldn't necessarily say he's the best character.
Oh,
when you're
do
a
not like him
fucking
now, but when I was
15-year-old
13,
kid, 13, a young kid, and it's like this is this older like horror nerd guru guy.
Yeah,
he's kind of like funny or whatever. He was fucking awesome. Oh my god, they killed him. It sucked. That would never happen. But this part happens in this where they have the debate about aliens, and aliens is classic and stuff, and they go, "Get away from her, you bitch." And then Randy corrects him.
Yeah,
"Get away from her, you bitch" is the correct line. Randy was wrong.
Oh,
just like he's wrong about sequels. And then I also have a note, this time around I'm really annoyed by Randy.
Yeah, Randy's got
I don't dislike him that much, but I certainly like, he annoys me a bit, whereas he was my favorite character
right
when I first saw these movies.
Yeah, it's
so then is Aliens better than Alien?
I like it better, but
are you Cameron
almost
head?
not even the same genre.
Right. Terminator versus T2.
T2 all day, every day. T2 is
right.
one of
I'm
the
like,
best
that's
movies ever.
Yeah,
definitely the superior movie. And then Randy also proclaims the entire horror genre was destroyed by sequels.
Right.
Which is like,
and then he said House 2, the second story, which I recently watched both House movies. They're directed by Steve Miner.
How do you feel?
Friday the 13th. Kind of different movies again, just like the other ones we've discussed, because they're both like hokey and campy and ridiculous, but 2 is almost a kid's movie. It's almost like Lawnmower Man 2 compared to Lawnmower Man, which I didn't finish.
That makes sense.
But like it is crazy. I actually took a picture. I'll text to you guys. I took a picture of what was happening on screen just because it was such a wild, like I couldn't believe what I was looking at. There's like a dead zombie grandpa with a sort of caterpillar puppy. Yeah.
And then that whole scene when ends with Sid coming in and be like, "Hey, come out here, Randy," and he does something I haven't seen in a while, spraying Banaka
into the mouth, and then spoke in a weird accent for no fucking reason.
Oh my god! Yeah, like I don't know about that, Sid.
I hate that.
And has this weird little like strut walk thing, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
This whole segment I titled "Randy Gets Cucked" because Randy is just like, just all over Sid and weird, and then boyfriend shows up. Jerry shows up.
Yeah, Jerry O'Connell.
And Jerry O'Connell, and it's just Mr. Happy-go-lucky, just French kissing and touching and all different kind of stuff. Well, Randy is literally 6 inches away. Like, he didn't back up. He's just sitting there. No. He's just basking in it, I guess.
Talk about a creep show.
Oh, yeah.
Which you can go back and listen to our episode on Creep Show.
I think we should try to shoehorn like another movie title that we've covered before into a discussion so we can
just to do that
behind the scenes. We're going to start doing that now. Yeah.
Okay.
Look out for that.
I'm just going to, I wanted to reveal that to you all. Check out our episode on Revealer.
Oh, very nice.
That whole scene's amazing in the sense that, fucking Derek comes in and is like, you fucking little Randy weirdo. And
Derek sucks though.
You think he sucks?
I mean, he's just
I think I don't think he sucks. Boring. I just think he's not a nothing. I think that he's exactly what Sid needed after having such a traumatic experience in her life. She needed a boring kind of dude
bag.
that would just love her.
just with a wet paper bag was a human being.
I mean, he seems... there's no real reason to hate the guy. He's just...
Well, I know. He's just boring.
I know.
He's a real Cyclops, if you know what I mean.
He is a 100% of Cyclops.
from the X-Men. And if anybody knows, you know.
So after him, we do get Gale finally shows up, and
God damn it.
Red streaks, her amazing hair, her 100% Gale, best Gale.
My first note has got to be Gale's best hair of the franchise, right?
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed. I don't understand why they played her so Darth Vader in this movie, in the fact of like, they go from like, hey, you know how you didn't like Gale Weathers in the first one? You're gonna fucking love-hate Gale Weathers in the second one.
I love her in this movie. This might be not only my favorite hair, it might, I'm not certain, but might be my favorite Gale Weathers of any of the movies.
Ooh.
She's just great.
I think, her level is so extreme, and I love it. And she's just on point with everything. But when Dewey comes into the picture, just how much that guard goes down.
Can we talk about the Dewey is a boss song that plays throughout the entire movie? Every time he's introduced, like dum 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 dum. Oh, yes.
Yeah, don't worry, guys. I got you. And I actually also just played a trick on you. That's also the theme from Broken Arrow. That's the one I took it from.
What?
Yeah.
You know what? You're absolutely right. Did you know that?
Holy shit.
I knew that going into this. I looked at it previously. I forget why, but
I watched the shit out of Broken Arrow.
Broken Arrow. I know. I loved Broken Arrow too.
Me too.
That was a dope movie.
We'll save that for the BA cast.
Exactly. So yeah, Dewey's theme and that is the same song. It is by Hans Zimmer, I believe. I forget what it's called, but yeah.
Ooh, Hans.
That's fun.
It's an actual song.
That's amazing.
But I love it. Yes, I love when fucking that plays. Dewey rolls up with his fucking limp.
So
he's seen some shit.
Here's the question: did David Arquette come with that limp, or did he and Wes Craven was like, perfect, love it, or did he come with a less extreme limp, and Wes Craven kept pushing him until he was just like, fuck it, and he's just, because it is extreme.
Yeah, I don't know, and I want both scenarios to be true.
Yeah,
that's gotta be one of them, right? What else?
Give me more. I need more limp.
I mean, just like a sequel should be. It's more extreme. They push it to the limit, so they're like.
What's with that limp anyway? Because you were stabbed in the back.
I like that they even
nerve damage,
out.
Bro.
Nerve damage, man.
Severed nerve.
God,
fucking dick.
Yeah,
I love Dewey in this movie. He's my favorite character in the franchise now.
Absolutely.
Which again, as a kid, Dewey was a lame-o.
Yeah, I was like, who's this? Yeah,
right.
I think it's 100%. That adult brain versus kid brain thing.
Oh, dude, when he puts the business to Gale and like basically calls her out on her bullshit was fantastic. Also, I like that it was like his whole monologue about him being dumb and quoting. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
How do you know that my dim-witted inexperience isn't merely a subtle form of manipulation used to lower people's expectations, thereby enhancing my ability to effectively maneuver within any given situation? Yeah, of course we both had that written down. It's beautiful.
Of course you did.
Goddamn right, we both had it.
But before that, I mean, I think it was before that when when Gale ambushes Sid with Cotton Weary, like that's like some of the crazy shit that Gale's pulling, and Cotton's like, wait, you didn't tell her?
Yeah,
she's on like a completely different power trip. That's why like I get the chemistry between Gale and Dewey, you know what I mean? But like she's such an asshole in certain aspects of this movie that it's like, God, it's just, I don't know. At least in the first one, she was kind of a dick, but then kind of turned it around. And at least the first 2/3 of this movie, she is just full Gale. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it's great.
Love it.
Sid gets Gale with the backhand on this time.
Yeah, I was gonna say we get our variation of the Sid Gale slap. And I also love when we first see Dewey, we get our Sid and her group of friends are hanging around talking, and she's like, "Oh my God, is that?" And get a shot of Dewey. He's just kind of like wandering around like he's lost next to a tree.
Yeah, he is.
It's so funny.
It is so funny
It's
with this
very
like pathetic
quick,
limp.
but it is. You're like, what on earth is Dewey doing? It's like, it's as if he was walking around like, how did I get here? What is happening? Like,
Oh yeah, this is where Sid's at.
Just-
Okay, maybe I'll just find her.
I don't know. What college is this? Where am I?
It's pretty funny. I'm glad you got that too, Bryan. And then also he has a conversation with Sid around this time about like if it is the killer, if some like freaked out psycho is trying to recreate the movies, you probably already know him or her or them.
Or them.
Love that line. Woke Dewey since way back.
Woke Dewey, exactly. He's not actually alluding to two different people. He's
Right, exactly. It's just
I love
Please
it.
listen to pronouns.
Mhm.
All right, this leads us into Cece's death. I think is a good place to get to. This is our
Nothing says sorority party like Dave Matthews blasting in a house. in
fucking 1997 blasting some Dave.
1997. Yeah, that's a party. That's a sorority party. That's a fucking
1997, blasting some Dave.
Take me back, man, to a better time.
It was so funny because like I'm watching this and all of a sudden I hear Dave Matthews and I go, oh, so they're at the sorority house now. Like it's the first thing that fucking I was like, oh, all right, okay, I get it.
So you do notice that Ghostface sneaking into the house part. The
Such a
sorority
good scene.
sister's on the phone talking to Ghostface while he's sneaking in. So that could be some sort of hint as to, again, it's
Double
more
trouble.
than one person,
Mhm.
double trouble. Which you could also look at like when in the beginning when he walks into the bathroom and there's two at the stalls.
Right.
That could be a little
Yes.
wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Wink.
But
Hey, we're
Did you
probably gonna have
notice
two.
When Ghostface leaves the stall after being stoked that the trick worked, he has to like wait for one of them to still leave. So like one of them was paying a really long time, or maybe that other business to handle. But I noticed
Long
that
pee.
Ghostfaces do everything in twos, including pee. Go ahead.
That's
Including pig. You need a pee buddy, especially when you're murdering people.
Oh, definitely.
Murder.
Because then we get
the one-liners though that we're getting now. Like this is optimal Ghostface one-liners, starting with Cece's death and the phone calls. Make sure you turn on the alarm.
Oh yeah, total fun scene. And top of her game, Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Could do no wrong. Like she's the center of the universe for some friends of mine.
I'm sure. Yeah, 1997 was primo time for it. So to see her, when I recently rewatched this after not watching it for a very long time, I forgot she was in it.
Oh
And I was
really?
like, oh yeah, that's fun. And then she gets like Ghostface chases her throughout the house, obviously,
Yes.
and she throws a few things.
Oh, runs up the stairs, hits him with a. I feel this is the scene I think that inspired Scary Movie for all this stuff that goes.
Yeah,
she's
going
just
down the
throwing
stairs.
shit in
Yeah,
front of
the
him.
stairs, yeah.
That
At
makes
one
sense.
point, she like there's just a bike
There's
in
a
the
bike.
hallway on like the
Yeah.
fourth floor of the building or something. And she
Yeah.
chucks it down the stairs at him.
Yeah, just throw it down this. I mean, it's smart.
Like,
It's
I'm
yeah,
gonna keep
the
this
thing
bike
to do.
all the way up here.
I hate to
She
say
runs
it
up the
though.
stairs.
balcony and
I hate to say it, being in a sorority house and a fraternity house, it is, dude, it's so par for the course to have shit everywhere. Like, as outlandish as having a bike on the fourth story or third story
That
is,
place
Believe
looked pretty
it.
nice.
it looked pretty, yeah, that's true.
yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. I think there
I
should
don't
have
know.
been more bikes
more,
lined with bikes.
a Tour de
on bikes on
France just
bikes.
going
If this was
straight
gonna
down
be a
the
real
stairs.
sorority house, the thing that didn't make sense to me is there was only one bike in the house.
There should have been more
And
bikes.
therefore, this movie is a no good. So she gets 2 stabs to the back and thrown off the 3rd story. This is where, Sarah Michelle Gellar was like, I don't know if I want to do that. Then does do it. And I think it shows. It looks like her
It
falling
does
off.
show.
Awesome.
Yeah,
It's
it looks really good.
Another brutal death, I think.
This death is fucking fantastic. Okay, huge caps on my notes on this one. The ghost face sound effect after wiping the blood is literally like he wipes and goes whoosh. It does like
Yeah,
a
that's the
cartoon
Ghostface
swoosh.
swoosh. It's because of all
I-
his robes
I like to
swishing in
think
the
of it
wind.
that it's Ghostface doing it after he wipes the blade. Because he's like, whoosh. Yeah, says it out loud.
Just kind of to himself. Whoosh.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing that apparently putting on this mask does is you do a
Instinctively.
Ghostface wipe. Yeah, exactly.
You always
You do
do
that.
like blade swipe.
Back at the party after the death, there's a fun cameo in the background that I never knew about until now.
I don't think I do.
Matthew Lillard with bleach blonde hair is at the party. In the background.
What?
And at one point he's like, hey man, or something. So I couldn't tell for sure. I tried to watch it a few times because there's a lot of dudes in blue at the party. But
Okay.
it looked like Matthew Lillard's character could have been like saying hello to Mickey in that scene. It was some dude
interesting.
in a long
'Cause
blue.
I remembered somebody saying hi to Mickey in that scene.
Yeah, so it's like in the background, a dude with blonde hair, and it's like, oh yeah, that's definitely Matthew Lillard. So
That's
a
amazing.
little tidbit. I mean, if you know what the original plot for Scream 3 was that Stu was still going to be alive and have like this whole like cult or whatever type of thing.
Network,
So
yeah.
this could have been like a little like leeway
little
into
Easter egg.
that was him as Stu, but since that didn't go through, it's still just a little
and
cameo.
Mickey was like part of that cult.
Or something like that. But yeah, exactly. But that could have been,
Damn.
right? Who knows? So, but
Ooh.
now, according to, lore, more or less, Stu originally died in, the first movie.
Right.
And that's just,
I want him to stay dead at this
Oh,
point.
me too.
It wouldn't be,
I think it would be
especially
ridiculous.
because there's such a like big push
Like,
and
it's like,
online
why?
thing for it.
Don't
Like
do
it would,
that.
it takes it away.
Mhm.
If it wasn't a big thing, then it could be cool and fun. But because everybody
Yeah.
fucking talks about it, like I don't want. Yeah.
I don't want us to be
Anyway.
making Scream. I want Scream to be making Scream and
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
and put us in it. So there's
Yes,
there's your little
please.
cameo right there.
When they all leave the house, because what happens? Oh, the cops.
1,000 cop
CC's
cars show
body
up,
somewhere.
and then they go to the sorority house. So
Yes.
everybody like runs out of the we got to check this out.
There's a little doggy on a leash as they're all running away from the house, and it's Liev Schreiber's dog.
Aw.
There's like
A woman dog
somebody
in
posted
it.
on the Scream Reddit behind the scenes of him like talking to Wes, being like, "Can't we just put him in the scene? Like he'll find his mark." It's a whole cute little fun video,
that's so
you know.
That's fun. Right before they come out too, Mickey mentions Empire Strikes Back to Randy. So which Randy says for the sequel thing.
It's a
was-
trilogy.
doesn't count.
Not a sequel because it's part of a trilogy and it was completely planned, which it wasn't completely planned. Star
No,
Wars,
right.
yeah, exactly. Randy is just like, come on, dude.
He's,
Think you know it all.
You're just gonna nitpick every time he
I
says
fucking hate this
something.
guy at
You're
this
like,
point.
"And this is what he says here.
Anti-Randy.
And let me tell
Anti-Randy.
you something. It wasn't completely
no,
planned. It
that-
was only partially planned.
The only reason I bring that up is because it leads into Hallie saying, yeah, I like those little furry things. In which Mickey says, they're Ewoks. They blow.
They blow.
Fun throwaway line.
Classic Timothy Oliphant
Elephant.
delivery.
And then we
I
get
know-
Red Right-Handed.
Love him. I'm a big Timothy Oliphant guy. Definitely
Yes.
didn't know who he was.
Mhm.
And he actually didn't come up. This wasn't the movie that put
Him
him
on your
on my
map,
radar
yeah.
either. Go.
Makes sense.
If you're familiar with that gem, is when I first noticed the elephant.
The
Now,
elephant.
I know she has to, but why does Sid answer this goddamn phone at a place that's not hers in the middle? Like, I
mean,
would have just, I
phone-
mean, again,
phone's
for the
ringing.
purpose of the film, you're going to have to pick it up. But
Oh,
having that much PTSD
I-
about phone calls, I would have been like, "Pfft, nope.
Ross, here is my note. Just walk out of the damn house, Sid. Why answer the phone with a ghost face on the loose?
It's true. At this
Oh,
point,
totally, but-
Like, isn't the safest thing, as far as we know, is to just not pick up if there's a ghost face?
he
around
can't
ghost
do
facing?
anything to you if you don't. It's like kind of like the
If
ring.
you-
If you
it's
don't
like
a
watch the
vampire
video,
can't come in your
Exactly.
house.
it's a vampire. Yeah.
But, dude, I'm glad she did, because we get that fucking so good one-liner. Hello, Sydney. Just remember me. Yeah. Ooh, so good.
And
I
this
love
time
that
she just
fucking line.
knows it's the real. It's
They're
not
like,
one of those prank calls
are
again.
You Stu or Billy? Because I fucking killed them.
So no, I don't know who you are. Who are you? I know that voice. Cool. You got one of those things.
Oh,
You get one of those
I got
ghost face things?
Rad.
So yeah, Sid goes into
Guess
the house,
what? I
and then
fucking
she gets
killed
chased
ghost
around.
faces.
And then Derek tries to come in and like saves the day. He gets cut up, and then Dewey comes, and then everyone's super sus at this point. We're just building on sus at this stuff.
It's all sus.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
well, there's so many red herrings in this fucking movie. Like, there's so many red herrings. And when you know who Ghostface is, I think it makes it funnier to me, because those ones are so much more over the top than everybody else's, that like it's almost.
I mean,
the red herring's like
what is almost up.
Where it's like, oh, it's crazy, it didn't hit any major arteries or anything like that. Like most of the like.
Oh, you think the
Mickey and the reporters
are really painted out to be suspects heavily, is what you're saying.
Oh, totally. And they just lay it on thick with the herrings. Everyone's
think
got little herrings.
Like completely,
I don't know.
Supposed to be absolute non-suspect.
Right.
Debbie Salt.
Oh, okay. No. What I'm saying is that like the initial one got me, but when you do know who it is, it's so funny how cheesy some of those lines are where it's like, well, I just thought the killer would be from Woodsboro. And then just like looking at everyone going like, believe me? Please believe me? No? Mm-hmm. Yes, okay.
Oh, he does a lot of manipulating Mickey.
Mickey definitely does. Yeah, at this time he's like talking to Sid like, oh, but why did he show up? Or why would blow all this?
Why would he go back in the house?
Mm-hmm. And then at one point, then he does say it with, the 90s is no time to play a hero. So if you remember the 90s.
You know what we did in the 90s a lot, or pop culture did in the 90s a lot? Comment on how you need to be like, it's the 90s. This is how things are.
Yeah.
Sure.
Nobody says it's the 20s. Get over it.
It's the 20s. Get over it.
I don't know. Don't people like 20? It's 2016. Aren't we smarter than that or some shit?
Ish, but right. I mean, as a decade.
As a decade, you're right. It's always as a year.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The 90s, we knew we were living in it.
We can move on from this by now. Speaking of moving on from this by now.
Yeah, well, we get our shadow of a doubt now on the boyfriend. We get double trouble bodyguards, which is fun.
Who Sid knows about their personal life for some reason.
Which is hanging out
talking with them or something.
She does not seem like she would ask those things.
Right. She's just playing poker with them. I don't know why she knows
that. She overhears them. They're hanging out together and just chatting about themselves, and she hears over. He has to listen to it.
Totally.
That's what it is.
She's just eating a sandwich by herself on a bench. They're talking about their relationships.
So 100%. Oh, it's such weird personal information. Oh,
I was reading my horoscope today. Oh yeah, what are you?
Really? I mean, my ex-wife and my 2 kids that I don't see that often. I do. Okay, we do actually find out though through some Gale Weathers weathering. The victims have similar names to the original Woodsboro murders. Bum bum bum.
Okay, so as much as I love these movies and even love them for their flaws, I still fucking hate this so much. It's just like, this is really bad.
Not necessary.
I do not like it.
They could just be random murders. It doesn't have to,
I figure out, I mean, they've shoehorned other stuff in well enough that doesn't bother me, but this, I think is really stupid.
He hates it.
I do not like it.
It is a negative. Yeah, that whole scene is kind of ridiculous, and I'm whatever to it. But that leads to the cafeteria where we do get to find out a little bit about our 2 agents. And then this is where Derek sings a little tune and gives away his letters, which you never do.
That is true.
Oh, God. The Top Gun scene was so cringy and so
I love it.
Good at the same time. I hated that scene. I love hating
actors
that scene.
Who auditioned for the part of Derek were asked to perform the scene in the cafeteria as their audition. So that must have been a fun audition. Jerry amazing. O'Connell got it.
So when we were watching this, when I was watching this with my wife during this scene, while like she's watching the movie with me, she just looks to me and is like, "Why is this happening?" I was like, I went to answer her and realized I don't know. Like,
I have no idea.
To give him a gesture of love for their relationship.
My huge note,
but it is just
my huge note for this.
Odd.
It's so odd, especially the fact that if you're going to woo someone or impress someone who actively tries to stay away from being the center of attention because she's the center of attention for like people trying to murder her and a bunch of stuff. Like, I thought like the grandiose public display of singing and stuff like that was like the polar opposite thing of what you should probably do with someone with that much like PTSD and just unresolved issues.
Aversion to the spotlight.
Yeah, that's like, oh wow, that was a big gamble. I'm glad it worked.
Well, shows when
Paid
you
off.
know it worked.
Yeah,
Paid
it
off,
worked.
though.
Looks like Derek knows Sydney better than you, Ross.
I'm glad. Well, maybe not, because he winds up.
What?
Oh, no. Yeah, that whole scene's ridiculous, but I always thought it was hilarious. I was like, college is crazy, man. People just be singing in the cafeterias. And then Randy and Dewey meet up and we get our exclusive scene from Stab, so that was definitely a lot of fun. Don't know how they
Oh my
knew
God.
about the dialogue that happened between Sydney and Billy, but they got
Right.
it exactly.
Luke
Yeah.
Wilson, Billy
It
Loomis.
was so fun.
It just tickles me to death.
God.
I wish we got more of him. I wish we got much more of him. Just his look. Even if he didn't say anything, I would just
So
watch
amazing.
him. It's pretty good.
We'll just watch them. So, the rules for the sequel. We got to continue on the theme, and we have some additional rules to that we got from the first one. So, Randy goes on to say, the way I see it, someone's out to make a sequel, cash in on all the movie murder hoopla. So it's our job to observe the rules of the sequel. Number 1, the body count is always bigger. Number 2, the death scenes are always much more elaborate. Carnage candy. And number 3, never, ever, under any circumstances, assume the killer is dead.
Okay, yeah. I mean, the only one I feel is a little lackluster is rule number 2 with Scream 2. Is that I don't feel like they were kind of elaborate, but they weren't
Much
more
more
over the
elaborate.
much more over the top than the first ones.
I agree.
Yeah, not necessarily an exorbitant
Or at
amount
least
or
the
anything.
end of the first one, I feel like, is bloodier than the end of this one, just blood-wise, even though some of that is
Stage
corn
blood,
syrup.
Yeah, that is true.
I guess it all is fake, so... Right?
right?
Or was it?
No, this was a documentary.
I don't know how much of it was fake versus real blood. It just get all mixed together. Bloods
Just
are
all
mixing
kinda-
around.
All
It's
the
just a
goos
whole
get together and kind of do some stuff.
gooey mix. So after this, we get to the. I don't know if you have any other notes. I was going to get to the theater scene where Sid's practicing on stage. My only note for that was
the
his,
only one. Oh, sorry. The only one
Yeah,
that I've
go.
got is the drama teacher's monologue, which I thoroughly enjoyed because of how fucking meta this movie is that like I felt like the drama teacher's monologue to Sydney was literally like it's the plight of the final girl. Like he's kind of expressing the craziness of the final girl and what that actually means and like the curse of it, especially when like you're now in a franchise getting consistently chased by masked people. Like, I don't know, that whole monologue scene was so meta to me that I was like, wow, you were like, I don't know. I thought it was fucking, I was tickle pink.
I thought he sucked as a teacher.
Terrible.
I just thought he took theater way too seriously.
Yeah.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God, cancel the
You have
play.
a student coming here, like telling you about all her problems. He's like, "Well, I think you just need to act in this play."
You should. I don't have an understudy. I'm fucked. It's like, dude, a lot of
You chose theater because you're a fighter.
Yeah, like, come on, guy,
Yeah.
calm down.
exactly.
So when she's practicing on stage, is Ghostface really there, or was that in her head?
I'm gonna say Ghostface was there, but which is
When I was a kid, I thought it was in her head, but now I think it was real.
because when they all go to like cluster
I don't
around
know.
here, you can see the real Ghostface sliding behind some set pieces and like kind of whisking away.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, like running away. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
That classic Ghostface slink.
The slink. The next note I have is in regard to Randy and what happens to him and his demise, if we want to get into that,
Same.
because we get a phone call from Ghostface, and while Randy
To Gale.
yeah
He answers.
He,
And one of the creepiest lines from Ghostface, which is it, have you ever felt a knife cut through human flesh and scrape the bone beneath?
Yeah. So fun story. So that was improv by Roger Jackson. Jamie Kennedy told Roger Jackson to just improv some lines and try to make him really scared. And that was one that he said that made it into the movie. So he's proud of that one.
That's awesome.
Yikes.
I
He
was
also
like,
said
ooh.
apparently Jamie Kennedy's mom was on set. So he said some other like crazy shit about like, I'm going to gut your mom or something like that. That doesn't make it in.
Shit.
I'm fucking your mom right now.
It's like, wait, what?
What?
Whoa. Gut. I said gut, by the way. Did you say fuck?
Go ahead.
I'm fucking you all right now. I'm Ghostface.
No, I know what you said.
Oh, you just took it. That's fine.
I just took getting in them guts in a different direction.
Getting gutted in a different way. That's fucking gross.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I remember when I was a kid, I really loved the like, what's your favorite movie? Showgirls, favorite scary movie. I thought that was just the funniest.
It's like fucking Ghostface. Yeah,
burned.
Never seen Ghostface get burned so bad.
So he's going around on the phone. I don't know if you have any particular notes. My note.
I thought it was just fun that they're just like tackling
people. Everyone with cell phones are suspect.
Oh, I did.
Imagine that today. I mean, they'd be tackling every person.
Everyone.
Gail takes a phone from somebody, and they're like,
"Sorry, Mom.
Who is this?" She goes, "Gail Weathers, author of the Woodsboro Murders." And the person on the phone goes, "Who?"
Yeah.
And then Dewey's like, "Come on, get out of here."
And then, when Randy gets pulled into the van, the like people dancing with the
heavy
boombox and playing hip hop go by the van. I'm like, was Ghostface just like trying to time that perfectly so that like it is come on, all right, snatch him,
gotcha.
Right as the boombox was coming up.
I think it was just.
I think it must have been.
Yeah, I think it had to have been.
And then we see video footage from the van of Randy, right? Later.
Oh, from inside the van, like recording.
Yeah, from inside the van. And then, which makes you would think it's Mickey, but then Billy's mom says that she did it. She got a little stabby with Randy.
Oh, yeah.
So was she in there or somebody was in there? They were both in there filming it?
Maybe
I don't know.
She's recording for him sometime. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah. She's like, God, this fucking kid. I
guess gotta record this shit, I guess.
How the fuck do you turn this stupid thing on? All right, here we go. Put it around.
And then the shot of Gail screaming when the van door opens up, was that in the trailer or something? Because that is like burned in my brain. Yeah. Like I would put that on a shirt or something to be honest.
I love that shot. I definitely my note. I love Gail's scream and then the reveal of Randy all bloody. Iconic. Then that leads us to Sid getting a library instant message.
Oh yeah,
that just reveals that she wants to die, which leads her to Cotton, and he has this whole freak out about wanting some TV time and just one Diane Sawyer interview.
Just give me the interview.
Come on, Sid.
Come on.
I did a year for you.
Oh, okay.
He's approaching it a dickish way, but I mean, I
wrong, and sure he's yeah, he deserves all that, but yeah, he's a little fucking extreme.
He goes like from he's nice guy in air quotes to like aggressive nice guy to be like, I'm not playing around anymore.
He gets aggressive real quick because when he first like gets presented with when Gail brings he's almost kind of like, you didn't tell her that I was coming, like that's fucked up, like type of thing. I'm like, oh okay. Yes. And then he has this little freak out,
and he gets more and more desperate.
So what I like in this scene is that Sid freaks out because of the message, and the cops are like, "What is it? Oh, okay. Here, you wait here around this like blind corner, and we'll go search inside the library." Like anybody, that could have been Ghostface, not
stab,
right?
Cotton.
Yeah,
I don't know when this happens before or after the Cotton Weary thing, but I like that Joel makes the right move and just gets the fuck out of the motion picture.
Fuck out of there. Yep.
Just out, dude. Like I love that.
Back to that.
I fucking love that.
But yeah. Horror movies need more Joels because he also comes back when it's all over.
Yeah, he's like, oh, they got caught? All right, let's do this.
Incredible. I love Joel. I'm glad you brought that up. Something I realized while watching this movie, feel free to take this if you want. Cotton Weary is a great dog name. Take it or leave it.
I could take it.
You guys, listeners.
Yeah.
I could see having a dog named Cotton Weary one day.
You'd have to like rescue him. You have to like rescue him from the pound because he was like falsely in prison somewhere. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, all right, Cotton.
He's definitely a rescue.
He's definitely a rescue. But I would always have this like 10% thing in the back of my mind that I know he wouldn't turn on me, but 10% of me is always prepared for him to immediately turn on me.
He's got a weird little tick.
He's got, it's like an eye glance, and he's overly aggressive. Nice. He's aggressively nice.
So then we have Dewey and Gale reuniting, trying to get it on in the theater or wherever the hell they are. Place.
Into it.
Yeah.
There's got to be a VHS somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And then I love that whole scene, Ghostface chasing them throughout the whole theater, TV studio.
The recording room.
The stuff inside the recording room.
Awesome.
Or that whole thing, I guess, whole scene, you said you loved it. It's my favorite ghost facing of this movie.
Oh, it's like
of all.
Oh, for sure.
All the ghost
Gale
face
sneaking
scenes,
around.
This is my favorite.
And moving around. It's very tense. The soundproof room is amazing.
The windows that you can't hear through, and
Dewey.
The pizza, the sticky pizza that Dewey steps in.
And then he gets stabbed the fuck up, and it's great because the absence of the sound, because of the way they play that with Gale screaming, you can't hear it, and he's getting all fucked up. And then we get a Ghostface hand wiggle through the door.
Yes,
he runs around, gets blocked.
That's where we get our.
Come here, come on. I mean,
just get closer, please.
And then, this is like when Ghostface is really going for it, because then he tries to like break the glass, throwing shit at it, then running into it, like throwing his body into it, or her.
We get ghost rage.
It seems like it's Mickey. This is real Mickey energy.
It does seem.
Well.
Yeah, big Mickey energy.
But
they're both crazed at the end.
I don't think, I would think it's not, because then Gale at one point runs, when she comes out of that or runs out, doesn't she run up to the phone?
Yes, and that's where
Debbie Salt's on the phone. Yeah.
Oh, whoops.
We know what's going on.
We know what's going
on. This is the point that Sid and Hallie get taken away by their protective custody, those Officer Andrews and Officer Richards.
Yeah,
and we get some more death.
So they leave. Jerry, he's there. Goodbye, kiss, out. I get tradition, you know what I mean? But I don't understand how 20-something dudes in cloaks are running through an entire campus that's been locked down because of a guy in a different colored cloak stabbing and murdering co-eds. Like, I'm figuring one of those frat guys would have been shot, at least.
I don't think so.
It doesn't bother me.
I just thought, I was like, how did none of these guys get caught? Because, like, you're in a campus that's been shut down and there's, like, tons of security everywhere. But you have a bunch of guys running through campus and, like, I don't know. I just figured they would be like immediately get caught.
Well, it's also, I don't know. I would not. Yeah, I didn't think twice about it. I was like,
right. All right, that makes sense.
Fine. So they take him away to, oh my God, he gave his letters away. We have to haze him and all that type of shit. Get him drunk and all that stuff, and like tied to a star on the theater stage. That happens, Officer Andrews and Officer Richards are driving Sid and Hallie away, and then they're at a red light and pops Ghostface, breaks the window and slits Officer Andrews' throat.
One Ghostface, two cops, and a cop car.
Easy. And then proceeds to jump on top of the car, slide over, kick Officer Andrews in the head.
Yep.
Or Officer Richards, I think, in the head, and then
slam his head against the window repeatedly.
Yeah.
Until he throws him in front of the car.
And then he gets in the car. And then this is where I go to. I don't think the kids would have got shot, because even in this instance, the cop pops up and says, "Get out of the car." He doesn't immediately shoot at Ghostface. So I think a bunch of kids running around on campus are fine. They're not going to shoot first, apparently. Like, this guy knows this is Ghostface and just saw this guy kill someone else, and he gave him a chance to get out of the car before like doing anything.
I might shoot. I'm not going to shoot you.
Yeah. So that's fine. Campus is fine.
I do like when he's on top of the car while it's running. He's like, "Get down!" And neither one of them gets down.
Right?
Yeah.
The cop, when he's on the hood of the car with the gun pointed at Ghostface, because now Ghostface is driving him around on the hood.
Which leads to a pretty gnarly death, because we get...
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Good one.
Right into like some construction shit or whatever. Hood of the car. Head gets impaled by pipe, face smashed, gurgling. Like,
very Final Destination.
Yeah, this is a brutal kill.
This is a very brutal kill. So many pipes through the skull, like just a multitude of impalement. it's so gooey. And
this is the one that steps it up.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Of any of the kills.
For sure.
I would say this is the disemboweling unedited thing. If the equivalency for each one, this would be that death.
This was the first scene that had me question why Ghostface, if there's always two of them, why are they always doing this by themselves? Like, if you had to take on two cops in a cop car and you're doing this with somebody else, wouldn't you want them there with you and not just be like, well, I guess I got this one, you got the last one, or however? How do you think Ghostfaces figure out who does what?
Flip a coin.
I guess
or
it's
talked about
it. I'm sure they yeah. Well, I think in this one though, because it doesn't really express when timelines are happening, but I think one Ghostface is off fucking with Gale and Dewey, while the other one's
almost have to
doing
be
this shit with Sid and Allie. So, I mean, they're like, let's fucking amp it up. I don't know if their plan was to just go for it tonight.
I like to think that the cop one is Debbie Salt jumping on top of the car,
doing that move.
Yeah.
No, unfortunately, I think it's Mickey. Because Debbie Salt's on the phone back at campus or whatever. So then this leads to the super tense car scene. Oh, we can't get out of the back seat. We have to escape through the front and crawl over knocked out Ghostface.
Okay, now watching this scene again for the purpose of this podcast, this is the only scene in the movie that enraged me. Because it's like he's knocked out, or Ghostface is knocked out in this front seat. She crawls over, honks the horn, doesn't pull the mask off, whatever. That's fine. You don't want to do the Scooby-Doo reveal. I get it. But like the cop had a gun that's literally at the front end of this thing. She could have just pulled the gun out and just shot this dude in the head.
Sure. That's what she should have done.
She wanted to
for
get
sure.
out.
And like, we already know that she went to that level. I was like, oh God, why?
So you were enraged because she didn't
murder him.
Get the gooey
I would have just, could you imagine how the movie would have changed?
If she,
It would have been like, this is kind of dumb. This is. I mean, I guess that's what would happen.
It's just, I mean, this guy literally put you in a car accident.
Think Sydney would just be packing all the time?
Well, not necessarily packing, but at least like attacking Ghostface.
Well, if there's Ghostfaces on the loose, I'm gunning up, as they say. That's what gun people say, right? Time to gun up.
Gun up.
I forget what state this takes place in. I don't know what gun laws are like. It's 1997.
I would figure it out. I'd probably already have one anyway, just because of my.
She seemed pretty carefree. All she needed was caller ID at the beginning of this movie.
In theater,
that's fine. True. That's what I'm saying.
She just wanted caller ID in theater, and she was going to get past this.
I'd be a little more Jamie Lee and Halloween 2018.
Dude.
Oh, not Halloween Ends, where she just gave it all up.
Just making cookies.
That's what Sid is. Sid already reached that point of the Halloween Ends, Jamie Lee, where it's just like everything's fine.
More face calls with Stab coming out.
Whatever, I know it's out there. Yeah, whatever. So, escaping the car is tense, but God damn it, Sid going back is what gets her friend killed, because they escape, they get out, and Sid's like, I just gotta know, I gotta go see. And then Ghostface isn't there, does like a circle back around, pop out, and
surprise,
Allie gets stabbed multiple times in the chest. And then Sid runs away, and Ghostface decides to just let her go. He like gives up.
She'll go where she needs to. It's fine.
I just got out of a car wreck. I can't be running right now.
He's got a mad concussion right now. He's just like, I can't.
Exactly.
All right, you know what?
Punctured like a collapsed lung.
Broken ribs collapsed.
I'm so glad I was able to sneak attack Hallie.
It took a lot out of him to do that. Yeah, exactly. And he's stabbing her and going, I need an ambulance.
Oh yeah, because this is then it gives us, and then it shoots back to Gale, and then Cotton pops up all bloody. I found Dewey. That's when she runs outside and finds Debbie Salt on the payphone, and then leads us into our final kind of show. The
killer is Cotton.
Yeah, killer's Cotton.
That's what Gale says.
Yeah, exactly. Then we get to our final showdown, I guess, at the theater stage, more or less. Sid runs in. Derek's been tied to that giant star, getting hazed for his letters. So I guess they left him there as part of the punishment.
His part is like up in the rafters.
He was fine. He was passed out.
Right. He's asleep. He's like, wait, what?
Big old dummy. And then Ghostface pops up. I guess he just needed a second to catch his breath, because then he runs up behind and Mickey reveals himself.
Mm-hmm.
Then tries to convince Sid that Derek is part of it.
Yep, the pump fake where it's like, oh no, he's definitely part of it. Like I had to pull up all this slack and a bunch of other, and then just the
being like, what the fuck are you talking about? No,
boyfriend killer.
Yeah. Mickey. I mean, Timothy Oliphant. I mean, we mentioned we're Ola babes or whatever.
Ola fans.
They're only fans.
Oh, if only I'd get an account.
Oh, for sure. He's definitely one of those people that we didn't even touch this. He's had a glow up because he definitely looked a little bit more skeezy, Christian Slater skeezy. Like, I don't know. There's something.
He had a skeezy look in the 90s.
Exactly.
Turn as a century. Oliphant was definitely skeezy.
A lot of greased up.
Maybe.
And then
as he aged into an older face, it made him a little less criminal.
Exactly.
But in this reveal, though, I mean, he's playing his best
Gibbons,
like Billy Loomis kind of psych weird face. You know what I mean? Like, he's definitely got the weird. He's got the weird brow down and like rubbing his. Yeah,
he's bonkers. Yeah,
totally nuts.
He's a great. He is a very, very good reveal crazy person.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, Bryan just dropped a little.
I hope so. That if you get it. So then that leads to Sid pausing to letting him down, and then Mickey's like, fuck it, and shoots him right in the chest.
Yep.
Derek gets
the most brutal.
As soon as it starts to splurt, Sid puts her hand on it.
The most brutal last words.
Don't worry, I got this.
I never would have hurt you. Never. Never.
I know. He's just like a big dummy. And I think he would have loved Sid, but Sid needs something better than Derek.
Sure.
Dr. Derek.
Agreed.
Future Dr. Derek. Yeah. I mean, we'll never know because he's fucking dead as a doornail.
I mean, I don't think he deserved to die, but
no,
I think there's another way out of that relationship.
Yes,
not
just naturally.
Not when you're dating Sydney Prescott.
You bore me. I met this real handsome cop.
Yeah. So another thing, and I know this is talked about later on in a much later Scream movie, but Ghostface uses a gun here, so it's not. He's revealed himself to be Mickey, but that's Ghostface using a gun. It happens.
Yes.
But it's not
in mask.
Yes.
Why does it matter?
Because he's not. His face isn't a ghost, bro. His face is human face at this point.
I know there's an argument later on this, but I mean, Scream 6, Ghostface has a shotgun. It's in the trailers at this point and all this, but like, I was fine with it then. I'm fine with it now. Mm-hmm. Ghostface. Be Ghostface.
Oh yeah, I'm not fine with it in either situation.
Yeah,
people are,
but we haven't seen ghost facing with a gun. We've only seen him ghost revealing with a gun. We've seen
last one
Billy shoots somebody.
Exactly. Yeah. Guns are known to Ghostface, so it's not just unusual for him to be masked in half.
Billy shoots Gail, right, and then Gail gets shot as like Mickey's dying from the shots. From
that whole fucking Reservoir Dogs end scene, everyone's shooting everyone.
Blam, 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 blam.
So yeah, Mickey starts going off on like his whole why, starts to talk about his partner. Out walks Gail. Surprise, it's not. It's actually Mrs. Loomis, as revealed by Sid. Debbie Salt is actually Billy's mother, but 60 pounds and a lot of work later.
60. Well, that quote is fucking ridiculous.
Classic
Screamy type quote. This movie is full of slick Scream language.
Which is kind of funny that I think about it, that the drastic change of like Gail being like, you don't look anything like any pictures that I saw or whatever. I had a good friend and his mom went through a pretty drastic change, very similar, I would say, to what this description is. And I was like, oh, I guess I could see that being real. 60 pounds and a lot of work later.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, someone could look very different.
Oh, yeah. Sydney definitely knew. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, if you know the person, but like comparing, like only seeing this person in pictures,
right?
Totally works.
Totally.
Because I love Gail and Debbie's play together. The whole movie is.
Yes.
We barely even touched on it. That's just the whole fun interactions that they have throughout the whole movie. So leading up to the big reveal that, okay,
listen,
it's
local
Mrs.
woman.
Loomis. Yeah. Mickey and Debbie or Mrs. Loomis, whatever we're calling her, met online. Mrs. Loomis is basically the money and I guess presumably the overall brains, because Mrs. Loomis betrays Mickey. Mickey's all in for this, like the show and the fame and the courtroom and the...
Well, he wants to get caught. Like his whole point was for him to get caught, go to trial, and then say violent movies made him do it, and then have this huge like Christian brigade and all
how
that
the
stuff
Christian
like
coalition
behind
will
him.
probably pay for it.
Hell yeah,
for my defense.
Yes. What's weird though, and he brings it up, is that was Billy's mom paying for his college?
Yes.
Set the whole thing up so he could go, be around her for like 2 years.
Yeah, she's the money.
And then start doing this.
And the brains.
Okay. Okay.
She's the producer.
Okay. That makes sense.
And so she's like, Mickey, your whole story's stupid. Done with that. Shoots him. He in turn ends up shooting Gail, and she falls into the orchestra pit.
Which, of everything that happens in the movie, her falling into the orchestra pit is the only thing that makes me like, oof, when it happens.
Just a concrete slap.
And then that leads to Sid and Mrs. Loomis tussling for a little bit. Sid really uses her environment well.
I have a note here that says, how will Sydney defeat Mrs. Loomis? With theater, of course.
The power of theater.
She turns on the fog machine and starts and
does the lightning,
the metal sheet that makes thunder.
Oh my god!
For some reason, there's some rocks that fall that instead of just being styrofoam falling rocks, they actually bury Mrs. Loomis and appear to hurt her somehow. The whole
I do
thing is very funny to me.
I like the fire axe where she looks like Mrs. Loomis looks through the it's a bullet hole, right? And goes
I love that.
All right. And then she just sees the Jack Torrance with a fire axe just hacking at all of the fucking rope lines and watching everything come down. It's so good.
Can you imagine if Derek came down when she was doing that?
That's who traps Mrs. Loomis. That's what happens. He falls.
The sun impales her.
Oh, that would have been definitely fun.
That would have been great.
So, yeah, she's using her environment to her full capacity. And then Cotton shows up. And Mrs. Loomis gets holds Sid as a shield. We get our whole bargaining situation. And then basically Sid's I'll agree to do an interview with you, Cotton. So Cotton's like, yep. Shoots Mrs. Loomis.
Got it. Boom.
Ends that.
Hey, Sydney, I was...
Oh, we do get the pump fake, though. Because we're pinned down on Mrs. Loomis, and then Mickey pops out. And
I love his lie. And I want you to just jump up and be a crazy person, okay?
And make it scary. Yeah, that's fucking amazing. And then he gets shot the fuck up. And then Sid decides to double tap Mrs. Loomis just in case. And that leads us to Dewey getting rolled out. He's alive. That's awesome.
Gail puts down the camera and it abandons the news story to tend to Dewey. So we see her growth there. I think it's real funny that Joel's come on, Gail, just like we used to in the old days, which is the old days.
3 days ago?
A few days ago when you just met her for a few days.
Yeah, the old days.
What the fuck are you talking about, Joel?
He's trying to make her forget that he left.
Just
shit got real, like a smart person would. And then we get credits. Les and Jake starts playing. We get our... I love it.
Yeah.
And
I got 2 notes that we weren't able to cover.
Get it.
One is... another great Dewey quote when he's bitching at Gail in the beginning is when he walks away from her. He goes, "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some oozing to do."
Yeah,
which is a great line. And then in the scene where Derek gets his forearm cut when Ghostface is chasing Sydney, when Derek's outside, Ghostface takes another stab at it because it worked before, stabbing the door to see if it works or not. But that knife coming through the door in Derek's big eyes is another
that's a good one.
Just frame from this movie that is burned into my brain.
That could have been another trailer shot.
Oh yeah,
seems very much like it. That's awesome. Anything from you, Ross?
No, man.
He's all good. I'm all good.
I'm all good.
We're all good. And we're going to chuddle ourselves into a click little lake. That means we're going to go to a break.
We're going to take a break.
And we're back, and it's time to get into our questions for tonight. So I want to start us off with our fun, the one we always start off with. Would we survive? And if so, how? I said yes. And I said yes by not being anywhere near Sydney Prescott.
Yeah.
Or, well, also, I think as long as we are all ourselves, none of our names are the names of victims from the first movie.
So we're also good on that front, too.
Yeah. We should be good there. And then if I stand by, if you know a Ghostface is around, especially after the first one, we understand a pattern, don't answer the phone. Just stop answering the phone.
He can't attack you if you don't answer. We know that.
Voicemail exists.
He has to be invited in your home.
I know you're home. Pick up
the fucking phone.
I can see you.
I see right here. Come
in if you don't. And so I said also, now if we're actively being stalked and chased after, my best bet is to try. He's stumbly bumbly, so throw things, and if you successfully knock Ghostface out, take a killing blow.
Yes.
Absolutely. Do what Ross said. Pop him in the head.
Finish the fucking job.
So, that being said, I know there's a few moments that we talked about in our conversation before, but did anything pull you out of the movie? For me, I said not really. At this point, it's hard to tell because I'm so familiar with the movie and seen it so much, and it's just how I'm watching. I'm like, yeah, certain things pulled me out, but I don't care anymore.
For me, it's still the killing the victims with the names thing every time. I'm like, oh yeah, god damn it. Because it's like,
oh yeah,
rare for me to just straight up dislike something.
Hated it.
In a Scream movie. Usually I'll be like, yeah, but still, I like it. But for whatever reason, this is not that way.
It's right there
that was the knocked out Ghostface for me. That entire scene was just maybe infuriating was too grandiose of a word. Maybe I'll reel it back.
I get it. I understand.
It wasn't speak.
That is where you're screaming at the screen, you know, like
totally.
What the fuck?
You're in the movie
I was
theater.
Jada Pinkett,
and then you're getting stabbed. Maybe.
Yes.
Tongue
Oh shit!
In it. If this movie was a band, this is always a fun one. What is their name and genre? Ross, what do you got for us?
I got the Gale Weather Beatdown Westboro Hardcore.
Oh yeah.
I'd be afraid to go to that show. That sounds good.
That would be a fucking horrifying show to go to.
Sam, do you have any band names?
Yeah, it's the Cotton Weary Experience.
Ooh.
And they're sort of a psychedelic folk rock group.
Of course they are. With the name like
they
that.
They play festivals. It's more like you can listen to them recorded, but you're not gonna get it. You got to see them live and get that jam to really get it.
And they have an album once every like 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really, most of the stuff is just live show tapes traded amongst fans.
Exactly, especially at this time, 1997. Mine is the Shrieking Masks. They're a punk band.
Ooh.
They have such titles, song number one hits as the Bloodstained Ballot and Stab in the Dark.
Ooh.
So their number one hit, Stab in the Dark, goes as follows. First one. In the shadows of the night, a chilling tale unfolds, a story that's been told, a fear that takes its hold, a masked figure lurking, haunting our every breath, whispering screams of danger, a dance with life and death. Pre-chorus. We're running blind, lost in the fright, fighting for survival in this endless night, searching for answers in a twisted game we play, a stab in the dark, we're caught in disarray. And here's our chorus. Stab in the dark, the killer's mark. Silent whispers tear us apart, fighting for our lives in a twisted arc, in a dream of screams. A stab in the dark.
Incredible. You wrote that yourself?
Hell no. Ava came through. There's another verse. There's another bridge. There's a chorus and an outro. So maybe I'll post the whole song. Maybe I'll there's probably a way that I can hey, feed this into another thing and make a whole song out of it.
Oh, I for sure can do that.
Anyway, that was a fun one we had there. That was Ava pulling through. Is there anything about this movie that is unusual for the genre?
I mean, how meta this fucking movie is, I guess, would be, but it not in its own universe as in the Scream universe, but as in the slasher genre. I mean, they really, really go ham on the meta in this movie.
Yeah. Like, what is it, A New Nightmare?
Yes.
Only other thing that I can think of.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Actually, a really good point.
No, that makes sense. I agree with that. So it hits hard on those points, but it doesn't seem to be so outlandish for what it's doing. Like it doesn't seem like.
Oh, sure. Right.
There's something weird with it.
Mm-hmm.
Terribly
rounded.
unusual. Yeah, exactly. The message of the movie. What do you guys get out of it, or what do you think it's trying to say?
Don't answer the phone.
That's what I got out of it. That's what I got out of it.
The phone.
Well, yeah, that's what I got out of it. I'd say, I mean, it's probably, it could have Mickey's whole thing is media, pop culture, impact youth. Does it desensitize and blur the lines between fiction and reality? I mean, I say no, but that's certainly what's being Mickey's idea is.
And after this, Columbine happened, and that was a big discussion around Columbine, and then that totally affected the outcome for
Scream
movies 3. And what they were going to do, in particular Scream
with
3.
This franchise, yeah. How are you going to make this film gooier?
I mean, more.
I don't know that it needs to be gooier. I think it's just gooey enough for me. I don't know.
Yes, I agree with that. It is, yeah.
It's got some good. I would say maybe. I mean, he is using it's a buck knife, but you could have some dismemberment, some evisceration, as in like Randy could have just had guts all over his body. I mean, if Mrs. Loomis went ham. So I think you could probably crank up the goo on maybe the after, like when the reveal of the dead body.
In my research for this movie, I my lines are a little bit blurred here of where it came from and where I heard it from, but apparently there is or the script or whatever they're going for, a gorier version, just gorier stuff going on with Randy's kill. You do see a little bit more or a whole bunch of different things, I think. And the reason for that was that Wes, when he wanted to go bring it in for a rating, was trying to go in and be like, here's all this extra.
So they would force him to
cut it down to the stuff that he actually wanted to keep.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Exactly. So
that's like
there could be more to it, but like I agree with Sam that I don't think it's necessary.
Oh, that's true. That's like it's like an old Ren and Stimpy trick, because those episodes were so outlandish because they would submit horrendous scripts to the studio, and they'd be like, well, we can't do that, but we could definitely do these ones. Like in comparison, it was way less crazy, and they were still crazy.
So yeah, definitely ways to do it with the kills, but I don't think it's necessary for this. Villain level 1 through 10. This is always a good one. Power level, iconography. I like to split it into. You guys got any top of the head ones?
I got a question. Are we rating Ghostface or Mickey as Ghostface and Debbie Salt as Ghostface?
I would say
the two of them together.
I would say the iteration of Ghostfacing in this movie.
In Scream 2.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I would give it an 8. I think the iconography of this is a 5 for me. The one-liners for Ghostface for his phone calls I think are more menacing and just creepier and weirder, which is great. But it's still a person, so power level's like a 3 for me, where it's like it's still just a really upset mom and a film student. You know what I mean? So it's like but
they still have those Ghostface powers, those weird Ghostface powers.
Absolutely.
That you get. I mean, I'm just partial to Ghostface, so I gave it a 9 for 5 for iconography and 4 for power level. Okay. I know I'm being generous on the power level.
Yeah. But it's the spirit of Ghostface. I get that.
Framing it this way, I'd be at like a 7, I guess. 5 for iconography and 2 for power level.
Yeah. No.
There's just even though Ghostface does have some powers in this, there is a lot of just like not accomplishing much and getting lucky with some stabs. Things working out.
Those are some good power. Luck is a Ghostface power. It just has luck on its side.
I like that.
That's what it is. Chances are always high that he'll stab in just the right part to get an ear shot.
Ghostface.
He's got the luck of the Ghostface. So does this movie deserve a sequel? And what is the worst sequel idea you can think of? Say hell yeah, it deserves a sequel.
Absolutely deserves a sequel. In the sequel, the worst one is Stumacher is alive. He's living in a sewer, and some kid like falls off a bridge next to him, and he brings him under his wing to teach him how to kill people. But that kid wears his own mask, and he starts to do some killing. But then Stumacher's like, you know what? I'm going to take over. So he'll kill that kid. And then, I don't know, something will happen at the end that nobody will really care.
No one would ever make that
That's
movie.
perfect.
No one would ever make that movie.
That could never happen with any sort of iconic figure.
Not even close.
All right.
Oh, man. Okay, so worst sequel? Have it... I would say kind of have it begin how it does, but the first interaction... of Ghostface meeting Sid takes a wrong turn and then gets into a Final Destination scenario where she trips, falls, and the entire butcher block just falls on her and kills her immediately 20 minutes into the movie. And then it's just a really bummed out Mickey and Mrs. Loomis being like, what the, we had.
And then it's the trial.
And it's the trial. And then it's just a trial. Because they just give up.
Dry courtroom trial.
It's like, well, all right. Well, I want to do my thing.
Is this a remake?
No, it's.
They're still alive.
I guess it would be a remake.
It's a requel.
It's a requel. Or the worst sequel,
some stuff.
which we've talked about before.
Well, yeah, it's a terrible sequel. It's like, wait, didn't they die in the last?
It's like Evil Dead 2. And they just scratched the one.
It's like Lawnmower Man 2. Good idea, Ross. I mean, I went to Ava again on this one and asked her to chime in. She came out with Scream 3 Silent Vacation. In this ill-advised sequel, the Ghostface killer takes a break from slashing and instead goes on a tropical vacation, turning the franchise into a poorly executed horror comedy with cliched beach-themed kills and a complete departure from the original suspenseful tone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, I'd be upset.
Ghostface in a Hawaiian shirt, though. I mean, it could be kind of fun and doing, cliched beach theme kills. Mm-hmm. What's a cliched beach theme kill?
I don't know.
Umbrella through the stomach, and then the umbrella opens.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Like a beach umbrella.
I do have a second one. So if we're going from high school to college, maybe the third installment would be Ghostface gets his master's. So he just, he gets his, they went through the associates, they got through the bachelor's, and it's just
Let's just keep going.
Yeah. And it's like he gets really into his murder studies. So he just kind of forgets about Sid and focus on himself.
It's just it's a story of Ghostface. How Stella got her groove back.
How Ghostface got
their groove back. Is what, really finding themselves and figuring out. I like that.
Yeah,
I kind of actually want to see that. Ghosty figuring out who they are.
Yeah.
So, would you buy the soundtrack or score on vinyl?
Absolutely not. Unlike the first movie, there is not a lot of redeeming songs I like from this soundtrack at all. I don't know. I mean, I don't. Oh man, it just has different vibes. Fine. I think it's really funny because it's mostly, and I don't know if it's just because of the times or just because it was a sequel, but it's like a lot of the build-up songs that happen in between are what I would think a stereotypical 1997 movie would have in between those beats. So, I mean, I could just get a 1997 mixtape and probably be about the same.
And that's a good point. I will buy the soundtrack. It has a Less Than Jake song, cover song of I Think I Love You, which I loved and I still do. I'm indifferent to Dave and the Matthews band of his.
Yeah.
It's probably got Red Right Hand on it. I'll take that. It's probably got Dewey's theme in there.
Oh shit!
So I'll listen to that all fucking day long. So I'll be sitting over here listening to Dewey's theme on repeat. Well,
how about this? Is there like a 7-inch?
Get to listen in the background.
Is there a 7-inch of just Dewey's
just
theme?
Cut of that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can get the special one off. Sam had to jump away for a second, so we can get his opinions on these. If he doesn't come back in time, we'll tell him to throw his ideas into the Discord and continue the conversation there. Is anything action figure worthy? Yeah, Ghostface.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'll take a Ghostface, a removable mask Ghostface. So like underneath you get like the killer. That'd be fun.
Yes. Oh, that would be really good with interchangeable heads. Or
you just have a shit ton of them.
Yeah.
You have like a whole lineup of different Ghostface and you can
it's like a blind bag. And they all come.
Billy,
oh my
Stu,
god, that's amazing! Actually,
Mickey, Mrs. Loomis, and then so on.
We need to stop recording because that's a brilliant idea. Unmask your own Ghostface. Collect one of X amount of
custom Ghostfaces where you can make yourself onto a Ghostface toy.
Perfect.
That gets unmasked. There we go. We have a whole line of it coming out. I mean, I'd say I take a bunch of toys. I don't know. I'd take the whole crew.
Yeah.
I'd take the interactive Randy yanked into a van with blood spilling set.
Oh, that would be really good. I would also get the, I guess technically I was thinking straws, but it'd be easier for chopsticks. Have a chopstick holder, which is just the cop in the crashed car. So you just could kind of put them through him and then, take him out when you need him.
I like that. That'd be a good one. Sam's back.
So would I buy the soundtrack or score on vinyl? Yes, I would. Why not? It's
Ross
got
wouldn't.
Some screamy stuff on there. What? Jesus. That's insane.
He's so unpredictable. And then I remind him that Dewey's theme might be on it, so he just wants the 7-inch, the 7-inch cut of just Dewey's theme.
It totally
Dewey's
would be
theme, and then flip it around.
But
and
I said he can't have it.
And it's the stab version of Red Right Hand, not the scream version of Red Right Hand. There's a difference.
Okay. And then action figure, I said obviously Ghostface.
Yeah, Ghostface. I'll take Scream 2 Ghostface where you take off the mask and it's Debbie Salt.
What did I say?
He said it's a blind bag.
Well, it was all of them. You can get eventually a whole line of Ghostface and all just a whole bunch of different ones where you can take off their masks.
That's great. How has nobody done that?
Exactly. Right.
Again, I said we need to stop recording.
Stop recording. Check this out.
That.
Merch or prop? Yeah, we
Yeah.
just got into this. I said the mask. I would love a fucking on-screen or whatever Ghostface mask.
Okay.
Knife.
No,
knife.
I would get the outside the theater, the giant green fucking hand with the knife. Are you kidding me? Or the ghosts that fly across the ceiling.
I said the ghost. I said the flying Ghostface thing in the theater. I want one of those. So, which leads us to, what would you do at the midnight show? And I said, I want what happens at Stab in this movie at the midnight show.
That was my only note.
Ghostface costumes galore. Ghostface puppets flying through the air. Fucking glow in the dark
knives and shit. This is one of the only movies I think that we're gonna cover. Maybe I'm probably wrong. That we're gonna cover that like the midnight showing. Literally, the movie showed us what the midnight show, our version of what it should be like.
Can you imagine maintaining that kind of energy for the length of a movie? Just fucking
It's like a Coliseum riot.
I didn't mention this, but how many theaters are playing it in that theater? Just the one?
Just the one.
I think it's just
There's
one.
There's so many people running around I don't know, that seem really into what the movie is, but they're out in the lobby.
They're all over the place.
Oh, sure, right.
I don't know.
College theater, man.
Kids are crazy. The energy, they just have infinite amounts, and you go run around.
Those kids with their energy.
It's wild.
Get out of here.
I used to have it. I used to be young.
What? I used to be young.
Which leads to
Scream 2.
It reminds me of being a young lad. Let's bring us into our ratings and try to land this thing. It's time to take out our, I don't fucking know, Ghostface knives as we rate this film on our Chuddle scale. On the scale, we like to use the 0 to 5 fingers, which basically equates to engaging, sticky, t-shirtable, cockles, rewatchable. We give it a 0, 0.5, or 1. We invite you all to join in on that score. Let us know in the Discord what you guys think about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a club. We want to know the club score. So with that being said, I'm going to kick it off straight over to Sam to give us the reading for tonight. The rating for tonight. You're rating it for tonight. Nobody else gets any input.
You got to say.
Oh, wow. All right. That's all on me. It's a big load to carry.
You can carry it.
I'll do my best by chopping off some fingers. Engaging. That's going to be a 1. Definitely fully engaging. It's just got that Scream feel. I love being in the Scream the SU, Scream universe.
Yeah.
So I'm there. Sticky. It will get... Oh, well, you know what? I'm trying to go high if I'm unsure. So I'm giving it a 1. Because I was like, it sticks, but not fully sticks. But you know what? It's more than just half a stick. So give it a full finger for sticky. T-shirtable. So here's a funny one. This is kind of a Ross answer. I'm giving it a 0.5, even though I used to have a Scream 2 shirt.
Sure.
Totally.
There's nothing particularly interesting about the imagery of this one.
There was 2 things you mentioned wanting on a t-shirt while we were talking about it.
Oh, that's true. That's very true.
You said the shot of Gale and Cotton Weary or something.
It's fully t-shirtable. Thank you, Bryan. My Scream maybe it's my Scream 2 shirt because it just said Scream 2 on it. It was very boring.
It's true.
You have PTSD. Bad Scream shirts.
I think it was actually given away at the premiere of the movie.
It's perfect.
Nice.
Cockles. Yeah. Definitely cockles. Wow, this is going a lot higher than I anticipated. Rewatchable. That honestly is where the 0.5 will come into it.
Sure.
Give it a 4 or 5 because I'm probably only watching this one when I'm revisiting the franchise. I'm not watching it on its own.
Sure. No, that makes plenty of sense.
So 4 or 5 is, wow. I didn't think it'd go that high, but hey, good for you, Scream 2.
Good for you, Scream 2 indeed, from Sammy Poo. That leaves us over to Rossi Lou.
Ooh. All right. Oh, hey. All right, let's go with all right. Engaging gets a 1. I don't think I'm not engaged when I watch Scream movies. I'm always in it. I don't know. I like that ecosystem.
Engaged.
Sticky is going to get. I think it's going to get a full 1 for me because, like, I don't know. I really like the Ghostface in this. I think it has some of the best quotes and some of the best lines. To me is the part.
Sure.
A little meaner. You like a little meaner.
Yeah,
Ghostface.
Meaner
gruff.
Ghostface.
T-shirtable is going to get a 0.5. There are some good ideas, but I could be okay. I'd be okay with having a Scream 2 shirt, but I'm not going to actively get one. Like if I find one, I go, oh, that would be quite cool. Cockles. Man, this is also going to get a 0.5 for me. They weren't drained. Nothing's drained here. Like it was good. There was definitely some, some sparks, but it wasn't a full fire for me. Rewatchable is also going to get a 0.5 for me. It is really that like I would have to really get into a Scream bender to sit down and watch 2 again. Because I realize I think it's been like Scream Bender.
Scream Bender.
It is. It's just all Ghostface. Like,
I'm a water bender. I'm an air bender. I'm a Scream bender.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's probably been a safe 5 to 6 years since I've seen Scream 2, which for me is wild because usually a lot of these ones would be in heavy rotation all the time. But so, yeah. So I think I got 3.5. I'm okay with that.
Respectable.
I've actually, I'm going back and changing my score because 4 or 5 feels too high for me. And I wasn't sure on Sticky, so I'm dropping it down to 0.5. And 4 feels much better.
There you go.
Me.
There he goes.
So.
Little dropper boy there.
Bloop.
Can't make up his mind. Little flip-flopper. Changing things all the time. My score. Engaging, 1. Sticky, 1. T-shirtable, 1. Cockles, 1. Rewatchable, 1. This one is a 5. I didn't. Seems like you guys were gonna get that out of me.
Oh,
knew
yeah.
that was coming.
I thought you were gonna say that. Yep.
Super nostalgia trip. I mean, I love it. We talked enough about it already, but I definitely engaged with it. Sticky. I know I said I didn't remember Sarah Michelle Gellar was in it. It's like, but I do remember, like, there was so much I do remember about it, so it definitely did stick around.
Yeah.
T-shirtable. I never had a Scream t-shirt. I didn't have many like Ghostface or anything Scream t-shirt until recently. Now I found myself having a couple.
A plethora. Yeah, one for each day of the week.
Ooh.
But I don't have a Scream 2, so I definitely need a Scream 2 t-shirt at some point in the mix. Cockles were fully milked, drained, rocked, and locked. And rewatchable. Yeah, I'll watch this at any time, in order, out of order, all through it and love it. So that's where it comes for us, which puts it in at a 4.17 as an average.
Call it 4.2. Well, that's good. That puts it into the Chuddle Club Crib, right?
Yeah, it puts it right up in there above the 4s. I mean, it sits around VHS 94, cramp it, 4.17. So 4.2. The other things that hit that exact mark were Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Mm-hmm. Respectable.
Friday the 13th Part 3 is right above it, and right below it is something like VHS 94.
Ooh.
There's a few other movies that we have a scorecard that we're looking at here, and like we're trying to arrange it to allow us to, see what works. And I don't have all the previous scores currently and up to date. So there's other ones in there in the mix that we may have missed, but that's a good kind of show of what it's at.
Definitely.
Yes.
So now that you know what we have to say, what does the club have to say? As of recording, we only had a couple club members chime in here. So the club average for Scream 2 is a 4.25. Yeah, so it's real close to what we have here. And jump into the Discord where they gave their breakdowns and cut off fingers over there as well. Gooheads, please feel free to continue this and let us know going forward. We can always change and add the score around of what the club members think. So to finish us off tonight, I'm going to ask us a final would you rather question with our final thingy. Our final thingaling. Our final thing.
Final little thing.
Baby voice. Because you'll like it. Would you rather be a survivor in Scream 2 and face the traumatic aftermath, or be an oblivious victim in the first few minutes of the movie? So would you rather just die right away, or like have to like
go through the anxiety of being hunted down?
I don't know, hunted down, seeing a bunch of your friends die, living in that world.
Both cases, I'm dying.
No, I guess you live. You just have to live with the traumatic aftermath.
The second one, the living one.
Oh, so okay.
Or the one where you might live at least, not guaranteed to die.
No, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I could probably live with some fucked up shit. I'd probably like at least
I could live with you guys getting murdered
maybe, or fucking dismembered. I don't know. Yeah, I would go for the living option versus getting just like
gonna die.
Yeah. This is obviously has come from AI as well, so it's one of the better ones that came out of it.
Starting to ask us how we'd prefer to die, huh?
Mm-hmm. Well, I specifically asked it, but one of the things was like, would you rather experience events of Scream 2 in the college campus, or with that Ghostface, or the Ghostface from Scream 1 in a haunted asylum?
Ooh, spooky.
I guess the first choice. I don't want a haunted asylum and Ghostface.
I think that just compounds your problems.
Unless Ghostface gets taken out by the ghosts. I mean, that could be... But then you're still dealing with ghosts, so... Yeah. I guess that question did come up, and it was maybe a better one. And that concludes the Chuddle the Pod Movie Club meeting for tonight. And as a movie club... you members are the heart and the soul, so don't forget to jump into the Discord. Best place to continue the conversation with us, as well as other club members and past guests. Don't forget about Chuddle the Sam over on Letterboxd.
What's up?
For all his moviness over there, and at Ross Purvis on Instagram for some sweet artwork, tattoo action, Maybe a little funny meme in his story. Maybe.
Yes, that's very on brand.
And all of us at Chuddle the Pod on Instagram, on Slasher, on all the good places. Facebook, we're over there now. Hit us up on Gmail. Send us a message. Get into our things. Rate and review us. We love that. Be a friend. Tell a friend. And until next time.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some oozing to do. One more thing. Nice streaks.